All right, we're live here in Honolulu, Hawaii. Pleased to have with me a very, 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 very special guest with me in the building right now, NellyStarr.
I love that. I love everybody's aura out there. It's so like carefree and like we only got one life.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got off of a flight and it's been traveling is crazy right now. Layovers are like 10 to 15 hours no matter where you go. It's crazy. So hectic, especially with them lifting the mask mandate. There's just a lot going on. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm glad to be here. How are you doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here with you as well. You've been doing lots of great work in music.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's kind of dive into that right now. You've released recently a new track. I'm not too sure if it's on your new project. Let's talk about your single Drip.
Yes. So that single is definitely going to be on my upcoming EP. I'm finally going to release a project. I'm super excited about it because I've been working on it for a long time. Majority of the songs that are on there are over a year old. So it's crazy that I'm dropping everything now. It's kind of like all divine timing, if that makes sense. Made me appreciate the work ethic that not only I have, but my team has. Super happy to be where I'm at in my career, even throughout the deals and everything like that. I'm happy to have gone through and experienced the things that I have because it's made me more knowledgeable as not only an artist, but just as a person. Drip, shout out to Beeda Weeda. I love him. He's great. We actually shot the music video for that as well that I'm super excited about. And again, all this stuff was taken like a year ago. So the fact that it's all coming out now is it's super dope to see people's reaction because that means it's timeless. I'm super excited to see everybody's feedback. The feedback that I have been receiving so far about the record is amazing. People trying to Shazam it and it not even being out. They're like, where is this song? A lot of the DJs back home in Cali all play it as I sent it out to them just to kind of see people's reaction, and everybody's so far has been the same. It's like, where is this record? Shout out to Reese Beats. Reese is signed over with Empire. He just got that deal. One of the dopest producers I've ever worked with. Musically, lyrically, everything. He's amazing. In the studio record, like it was super dope to see it come about. It was super dope to see who people wanted on it, like that type of thing. The dynamic behind it was just amazing. From the lyrics, YMTK, he's a great lyricist as well. He's actually on the hook to that song. I'm super excited of the feedback that I've been receiving about Drip. We've all been super invested into it. And like I said, the song itself is timeless. It just brings us back to where we were when we created the song. It's like one of those like, wow, I'm so excited to see how you're reacting over it because we reacted the same way. Like, I'm glad that we're all here.
Just a few minutes ago, you mentioned about an up-and-coming new project. I know you mentioned before it's going to be called To Be Continued, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably a little over a year and a half ago when I was going through the process of making this project, I was also going through the transition of managers, like shifting. So there was a lot going on the business aspect of it. As an artist, I just fully submerged myself more so into the craft and into the music. So I allowed the music to make me, if that makes sense. I allowed the music to guide me. So while the business stuff was getting handled and worked out, I was more so submerging myself into my craft. Changed it since my name is NellyStarr. I changed the EP to Written in the Stars because I always say in any type of conversations that I have, people always ask me like, why do you continue to keep doing music even when, you had bad deals? Or why do you keep continuing to move forward when, you're going through this and you're dealing with this loss? And, for me, I always just say it's been written in the stars as it was for you a million years before you were even here. I want people to listen to this EP and feel like they could be anything. Every song on the EP sounds different. None of the songs sound the same. You're going to get 7 songs of the most random but tied together songs that you could possibly think of. And honestly, I want all 100% feedback, like in regards of transparency and stuff. I want people to tell me what it is that you guys think I should work on. If there's anything that you guys hear when they listen to the record, some songs are going to sit and resonate in your spirit differently than the others. I played the album multiple times for people, and from the front to the back. And there are some songs that are like, okay, I could listen to this. Like, this is going to resonate in my spirit differently than this one would. I look forward to hearing your guys' reaction to the EP.
What can we expect off of the EP? Lots of fire, lots of bangers, huh?
Yes, man. Like I said, you guys are going to get 7 songs of the most different and diverse. I really tried to channel learning BPMs, learning the things that make people feel good within their brains. So I studied music theory and music. I was super interested in it. Nipsey Hussle, actually, he did an interview before he passed away, and he was talking about listening to different type of wavelengths and what they do. So there are these videos on YouTube that you could look up to channel certain types of energy that you have within your body. So it'll play certain sounds. So I've learned to incorporate those sounds into my music because I want it to make you feel a certain kind of way. I want it to resonate in your soul and in your spirit a different kind of way. I feel like some of the music right now is saturated and you don't really come across, like it's really, really hard to find somebody that's the full package, that could perform, that could deliver, that, you know, that's personable, that's humble, that's very, you know what I'm saying? Like just super transparent with their fans. I feel like as if musicians don't talk about it enough. The industry doesn't talk about it enough of how the industry is. Again, I just want to make sure that people that are listening to my music, they feel as if you could be whoever, you can come from wherever, you can. There's no dream that is big enough that you can't achieve. I wanted to push people and motivate people to do whatever it is that, you know, they feel is best for them. And to follow their path, to trust their instincts. Like I want people to understand not only where I come from, you know, but where you come from and channel your inner self as well. Like I want to make music that makes people feel good. I want to make music that makes people think about, you know, there are songs that when you listen to now as an adult that you were listening to when you were a kid, and it brings you back to those moments. Like, wow, my mom used to play that when I was a kid. All Mariah Carey songs she used to play when I was a kid growing up in the house. So hearing her music, it just brings me back to that. And that's what I want my music to make people feel as well.
So you're from Seaside, California. I know that you're living in Alaska. What was it like growing up in Seaside, California? You know, what was the experience like?
Growing up in Seaside was crazy for me. It was a time for sure. Fort Myers, Florida, Seaside, California, and Anchorage, Alaska, all kind of the same time. So all around 7-8 years, I've lived in each individual place. So I got a little bit of everything. So I was born in Monterey, moved to Fort Myers, and then moved back to Seaside, probably about 3rd grade. And when I moved back, you know, I'm first generation American Filipino. So my grandmother, she was just living in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house, and she took on all of us. So my whole family moved into this 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. You know, if you're from Seaside, you know, especially during that time period, they used to have these heaters that were like the size of the door that would stick out, and I would always burn myself on that. Because it was just so clustered and cluttered. And, you know, during those times, you would see kids walking outside. You know, when can you look outside and really see kids roaming the streets like we used to? We used to ride our bikes up and down all of Seaside. So it's crazy to go back to Seaside now as an adult and do shows and stuff like that. And just think like, I was really out here riding the Lee Train bus. Like I was at 7, 9, 8 years old. Like that's crazy. Because you can't think about it now. Like I couldn't, as a young mother, you know, my son's about to be 5, thinking about his generation and how I want to upbring him. I couldn't even imagine letting my son take a bus anywhere. Growing up in Seaside, it's something for sure. But one thing I will say is that there aren't many of us as new millennials in this new generation that are really giving back to the community. Like this year, I have a lot of things in store. Backpack drives. I'm doing the turkey drives. I'm doing the toy drives and I also am doing a jacket drive. That's just kind of like a donation where people can just come and do a coat drive. Everybody can come bring their own coats. You know, we clean them up and give them back to the community. I'm going to be partnering with Seaside Raiders. Shout out to Miss Washington. A couple other businesses out in Seaside. We're all going to partner in one and do a big drive for the city. Being able to give back to Seaside, just in regards, because I feel like when it comes to my music, out of all the places that I lived, Seaside, California inspired it the most. I remember being out on the street, you know, not really having anywhere to go, trying to stay away from the gangs and stuff like that, and drawing myself into my music. So I used to sign myself up. Any programs that were in the city, everybody knows I was playing basketball. I tried to find every little outlet that I could to keep myself focused and grounded. I feel like there was so much bad influence around me. I wanted to be different, which is why I have the mindset that I have now. But again, you know, I was signing myself up for talent shows and winning in my division, and then overall I was winning first in my division and first overall throughout the whole talent show. I held that title for 8 years, and I take so much pride into that, you know, because again, it's helped me and mold me into who I am now. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I love to talk about this specific thing that I'm going to speak on in my interviews because I love to shed light on it. Out of 11 years of my life, I was sexually assaulted on 2 different sides of my family, which caused me to move around a lot. And I love, again, to be transparent about this because it doesn't get the light that it needs to. You know, I feel like with my generation, we have a lot of anger and resentment, and that we don't really realize that that's what it is. You know, and we have kids and we expect, you know, when you have kids, you start to reflect on your own life and how you want them to be and what you want to instill into them. So I feel like it really made me dig deep into who I was, which kind of all wraps around the music. You know, I want people to understand that we're all human. We're still people, even though technology is taking over the world. We're still people. Like, I just had a really good friend of mine pass away about a week ago. And my condolences to the Barnett family. You guys are great. You guys have been there since I was a kid, really. And he passed away due to a stabbing that happened. And everybody was recording it. The video is going viral on Twitter. That is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have really lost their mind. I want people to realize that, again, you know, we're all human. We're all here to help each other. And it's just crazy to see where the world has evolved to. You know, I had somebody tell me a while ago, like, that they appreciate me because in my neighborhood, nobody ever sits out with the kids anymore. You know, people just kind of let their kids play outside. And I didn't grow up that way. We grew up with the adult, somebody in the neighborhood, the block mom, you know, she had all the kids, the snacks, all the stuff. And that's me for my son. I wanted to do that for him because I wish my mother could have done that for me, you know, with her working all the time and stuff. You know, it's just crazy. They said, you don't really see grandmother sitting on the porch anymore because people are shooting outside. And that resonated in my soul a different kind of way, especially again as a mother. You know, it's crazy to think about how much times have changed in such little time. I don't know about you, but you know, thinking back to my childhood, it doesn't seem that far ago. It doesn't seem that long ago. So it's, again, you know, just seeing how things are rapidly changing with this war and social media and COVID. It's just like we're dealing with so much. I just want everybody to just stop and hug themselves. We have gone through so much. We have experienced so much, and we just have to keep adapting because that's what society has taught us to do. You know, my mother, she's, again, old school Filipino, so she doesn't really believe in the whole counseling thing. And it's crazy to me because the school got my BA for psychology and criminal justice. So the way that I look at counseling isn't like somebody's telling you what to do and you're telling somebody your business. That should be your self-reflection. That's going to be your balance in your check, to have somebody that's actually taught how to study the mind and how things work and you process things. You know, it's just instilling that trust and hopefully pouring that trust back into the community. So again, you know, that's what I want to do in regards to just speaking about the things that people have a hard time speaking about. Again, being transparent and allowing people to understand, and really not even understand, but more so comprehend that, again, we're all people and we're all here just passing through, you know, regardless of what you believe in. If you believe in a God, if you believe in it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we're all just passing through and life's already hard.
What was your career prior to music? And if music wasn't your career, do you think that you would have done something in criminal justice?
Again, you know, I was in school, so I was a single mother for about 4 years. I ended up hopping from job to job because I just have an authority issue. I have people feeling like I have this, not entitlement, but it's just like, how do you want me to respect you and you're not respecting me? I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been at this job. Like, we're people. Talk to me like I'm a human. Don't talk to me like you're higher up. And, you know, because you've been here this long, I get it. You got to respect, you know, the people that have been in the position longer. But at the same time, it's like, I didn't choose your career. You chose your career. Just like as if I chose my career, you know. So I did that. And then when I was working as a counselor for a residential treatment facility, I realized, mind you, I'm 21 years old, a baby myself, you know. So a lot of the girls that were in the residential treatment facility, they used to talk down on me because I was so young. Like, why would we listen to you? And I would always tell them, because you put yourself here and I'm on the other side. You know, there's clearly something that I'm doing that you're not, that I need to help you with. So I ended up going through this like huge reflection on my life during this time because it was so hard. I was struggling with separating my job from my life. Like I'm a super empath. So I would bring my job home with me. And as a young mother at the time, it was just too much stress for me to handle in school. And I was writing while I was at work. So there would be times where I would write. For those of you that have been following me from the beginning, I'm pretty sure they remember this time because I was coming out with a lot of when singing in the car was a big thing, you know, when it first started and girls were singing in the car. I was doing that a lot during this time. I was working at this job. So majority of my stuff that went viral was around this time. To me, it was kind of like God showing me signs, like, you're not happy here. Like, yes, you wanted to become a counselor. Yes, you had all these dreams when you were a kid to help and give back to the community, but this isn't working for your soul. Yes, this is something that you want to do, but it's not something that is resonating with you right now. It's not healthy for you. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't working. So I took a leap of faith. I prayed on it. I took a leap of faith and I quit. I signed a management deal with someone following my dream for the music. I just told myself, you know what? It's now or never. I'm a firm believer in taking the leap of faith. The management deal ended up not working, but I also signed a distribution deal with Empire. So my stuff was in limbo under another name. And then I ended up getting out of that contract. And of course, signing a whole nother contract with somebody else. To me, all of the signs were pointing towards this person because he was a high school teacher randomly. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people that are being placed into my life that I don't know, but know at the same time. So I trust them. I just actually got out of that deal like 2 weeks ago, which is why I haven't been dropping any music, is because of that aspect. So I ended up starting an essential living company here in Anchorage, Alaska, that consists of nannying, housekeeping, and caregiving. So basically what it is it's kind of like a temp service. So if you have your RN and your certified nurse, then of course you would go into the caregiving. But if you want to deal with kids, I have clientele for that as well. So I'm still making a difference. You see how everything is kind of just like connected? It's crazy now that I look back on it, because never in a million years would I thought that I would own, at 24 years old, an essential living company and 2 other businesses. I just thought that it was always going to be music, which it is music, but at the same time, it's all connected into one. Helping and healing the families in my community because I'm watching their kids, helping their grandparents, or, you know, giving back in a different kind of way. And I praise God that I've always remained open-minded, and I never allowed myself to allow my personal issues deteriorate my mind. I never allowed it to consume me as a person or as a soul. I feel like I've always been spiritually connected with not only myself, but with the world, which makes it so easy to talk to people. For me, I'm super personable. You ask a question and I'm going to answer it and give you something else. It happens every time. But hopefully for those of you that are watching, for those of you that are tuning in, that are going to be tuning in, whatever, wherever you hear this, I hope that, you know, you guys hearing my story and seeing how far I've come motivates you to keep going. How
have you been able to stay motivated? I know that you're a single mom. How have you been enjoying Alaska?
Alaska is cool. Alaska is a place it's kind of like Phoenix. It's a growing community. You know, they don't really have too much, so don't come up here expecting a bake store in Montclair, and, you know, don't come up here expecting that, because you're going to get North Face. It's freezing out here. But if you're coming up here as an entrepreneur, definitely a place for you to get your feet in the ground and start some in regards of business venture again, you know, because there's really nothing here. Alaska's cool in regards to that. I kind of like it because I travel so much, so it's kind of like my peace. Motivated. Read that have been shifting my mind and keeping me super motivated. One of them that I can speak on right now is the newest book by Rick Ross, and it is so good. It's taught me key points on how to keep yourself structured and following your path, and it just all ties into one when it comes into the EP written in the stars. You know, what's for you is meant for you. People can't take it from you. God is going to open doors that, you know, once closed in your face, that you would never even think of if you just, again, stay consistent, stay motivated. Don't allow yourself to fall. It easily happen for you to get uninspired. You know, you could work on a painting, and then when it becomes a drag, you know, you have to keep yourself motivated into doing that painting or that craft, that music, that song. So I don't limit myself. I just tell myself, if there's anything that I want to do, I'm going to do it. One day I want to build a vanity from scratch. The next day I want to paint a mural and learn about NFTs. So right now I have in the process.
I know that you did banners, you draw, you paint. What do you enjoy about those hobbies, and which do you prefer, singing?
Honestly, it's all tied into one. It's all tied into one with me, at least. Anybody that knows me can 100% vouch. I literally, if I'm in my house majority of the day, like I learned to make my house my workspace. Because when you're doing something that you love, it's not work because you love it, you know? So I've turned my extra rooms in my house into workspaces. So I got my actual studio is a recording studio and a painting studio and anything you want it to be in one. It's just a regular room with the computer and all the stuff. So if you want it, I transition a lot throughout the day. So I'll go from reading a book to writing a song to recording a song, then to painting, then all in one day. If you're not working hard, somebody's working harder than you. And to me, that's unacceptable. There are a lot of things that you can do to stay motivated. It's just up to you. It's how bad you want it and how bad you want to work. I'm a singer. I've been singing since I was 3 years old. All the way from Etta James to Ray Charles. And I taught myself how to play the piano by listening to Ray Charles and listening to certain keys on the keyboard. So I sat myself a little $10 piano that was about as small as this as a kid. And I just taught myself how to play because it sounded cool. Singing for sure, definitely. But I just did more of the rapping because rapping it's such an art within itself. You know, it's storytelling. It's dope to me for sure.
You know, when was that realization that you realized, you know, I'm going to dabble in music?
When I was a kid, to be honest, like 5, 6 years old. I was always, my mom, you know, again, you know, being super cultured, my mom raised me on karaoke. So I used to get paid by my family to sing songs. Give me money like a jukebox and tell me what song they want me to sing, and I would sing it. I knew. I knew when I seen Destiny's Child performing live on the TV, and I was dancing right with them like I was the fourth girl. Music has always been a part of me. Like I said, anybody that knows me from anywhere I've lived, it's always the little girl who can sing, you know, Chloe, the little girl who can sing, Nelly, the little girl who can sing. It's always that. That has been my nickname growing up.
So you mentioned that you're a Pacific Islander. What artist is NellyStarr? If you had to pick, if you had to describe yourself as an artist, what would you say that you are? And what separates you from the rest of the Pacific Islander artists? Because there's quite a lot.
NellyStarr is an experience. NellyStarr is as transparent and as glowing as it can be in just, again, experience, which is why I even named myself NellyStarr, because stars are so bright and people they gravitate towards them, you know? For me, I've always had people gravitate towards me. And not even just in regards to my music, like I've had so many people just believe in me, just talking to me, from anyone on the street. You know, like I said, I'm very personable. So I'm not one of those type of people that if you stop me and ask me a question, I'm not going to answer it. Or, you know, if I can't help you, I'm going to find somebody who can. I've always been the friend you can call me at any time and I'm going to be there. I'm going to pick up. That's just not even talking about artistry. You know, you say that, you know, comparing myself to all the other Polynesian artists and what makes me different. But to me, I don't really look at it as like race or nationality, or, you know, we're all artists. And at the end of the day, what you may like isn't what somebody else may like. So somebody may love my music and then somebody may hate my music. Congrats to every other artist that there is in the industry right now coming up. I know that J Boog is so dope to me. J Boog, Sammy J. I love Sammy J. Like, love his rasp. Everything about him great. Aradna, love her. The poly community is huge, you know, and I don't know if y'all know, but Polynesians are very talented, like not even just in regards of music. I'm just talking, if you hear them sing in the church, walk into a Polynesian church. and tell me how you feel after you come out. Okay, you're gonna feel like the Holy Spirit jumped in your soul and just tap danced everywhere. Like, it's great. Just as a culture, I love the poly community. You know, they have always stuck by me within my short amount of time in the music industry. They have supported me through name change, the management change. I'm excited to finally be able to give you guys what you guys have been waiting for.
Now, knowing that you've been in the industry for quite some time, you know, what is something that you wish you would have known when you first started out?
Find a lawyer. Lawyer. Entertainment lawyer, for sure. The thing that scares people about lawyers is the cost, because they think lawyers are costly, but you will find the small few that will help you in regards to your situation. Everybody's different, so everybody's situation is different. When it came to my second deal, for sure, my first deal I did blindfolded, tied with my hands behind my back, and kind of just jumped out on faith. And that first deal definitely made me realize, like, you know, these papers definitely bind you. In my honest opinion, remaining independent is like one of the best things that you can do as an artist, because you're believing in yourself. You know, you're pouring your own money into your craft. When you start signing yourself into contracts and things of such, you know, you're pouring not only somebody else's dream for you into your dream, but it's just, you never know. Like, if you believe in karma, you never know what that person has done to get to where they're at. So you could be taking on their karma if you don't know them, you know, and so forth. So for me, it's just understanding like how much my music means to me, and then deciding off of that.
Now, you mentioned about going viral. Was that a song that you created, or you were just singing in the car? And
I was just singing in the car, to be honest. I was kind of just rapping. I was rapping. And during that time, I actually had did I just quit? I think I had just quit that job. Emotionally, I was everywhere. I was an alcoholic. I will say that. I was definitely drunk in the video that went viral. And it's so crazy because when I think back to that, because I always get asked about this video because it was everywhere. Over, I think, like 3 million, 4 million streams collectively within all the platforms. And it was just being reposted everywhere. When I look back at it, they're like, how emotional, you know, you sound. You can hear how real it sounds for you. Like, you can hear it in your voice when you sing it. I was so sad for it to have went viral and have caught fire the way that it did. It just, again, you know, it inspired me that I'm not my situation, you know, and when something's meant for you, again, it's written in the stars for you. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Do not give up. I literally had pulled up to a park and let my son go out and play, and I was recording that video. Crazy. My friend was with me, so she was with my son, but crazy. What a time. It was in 2018, and the song never had a name. I actually got signed to my first deal after that song dropped. Went through an ownership of the song and the beat and a whole bunch of stuff. So I never officially got to drop it. People want me to, though, still to this day. I still have people that tell you need to drop this. You need to, like, it's so hard. And, you know, it's different because I'm not in that time period anymore. So it's going to sound different.
Now, you've released a lot of singles. I Never Knew and Language. Let's talk about the growth and the development from those two songs.
I Never Knew I wrote, I think in 2019, 2020, one of those. The process of both of those records were crazy. And honestly, I did those as kind of like testers to see what management would do if I dropped songs. So, which is why it never really came to a project. I always just wanted to test waters, as I like to do that. I like to push buttons. Those records for me during those times were amazing. Again, during those times, shout out to Clay produced it. Clay produced I Never Knew. And we kind of threw that record together as me and him. And then Language, I actually flew to Houston to shoot that video. And Language is a really good record as well. I still play that record till this day. It's actually one of my most transparent. I've never had a record like that before. Comparing Language and I Never Knew to these songs that are going to be released, I'm super excited to hear your guys' feedback on them.
And speaking of the upcoming project that you're going to be dropping, album, Butterfly Trenches.
Butterfly Trenches was a project that I had that was with a previous management deal. In the house that I was talking about, that I grew up in is the house behind me in the album cover. Majority of it was just talking about my life, reflecting on my life. And you can literally, I want you to do a compare and contrast. When I drop this album out, you're going to hear the difference in just, again, arrangement and everything. Everything just sounds completely different, as I was in a different stage of my life, dealing with a lot of things during that time. So production on that album, was not to my liking. Now, listening to the records, it kind of makes me sad to think back on what I was dealing with during those times when I was going through that management deal. So it's kind of crazy. And I'm, again, super excited to see your guys' reactions, because the music, it just feels different. The vibes are different. The stories are different. The production is different. Definitely the butterfly that grew from the trenches. NellyStarr.
That was 2 years ago.
Where the music has come from just 2 years. When I think about that, I think about what I'm going to do within the next 2 years and the next 4 years and the next 5 years, just in regards of music, to my businesses, to the business adventures that I'm having outside of music. It's going to be super crazy to see how far I elevate and how far things go for me. I'm really, really excited, which is why this project is called Written in the Stars. Again, I just want you guys to all never limit yourself to how far you can go. When you guys see the project cover, you guys it's going to resonate in your souls different, from the city to the galaxy. It's super dope. Graphic design. Shout out to Chill Graphics. He's out in Atlanta, 22 years old. Literally the dopest graphic designer I've ever had. His mind is crazy. He's done NBA Youngboy, Stunning for Vegas, Lil Tusi, everybody that you guys hear and listen to on the radio, he's done their graphic work for. So I made sure to find the right people for this project, and I'm super excited.
You're a woman of so many talents. I know that you got a clothing line as well. You got 2 clothing lines, I believe, right?
Yes. So my boutique line is called StarrStruck by NellyStarr, of course. And that's for women. I actually just did that launch probably about 2 weeks ago. Completely sold out, 48 hours. Shout out to T.I.'s daughter, Deja, for reposting. She shows so much love to my boutique line. And again, we sold out in less than 48 hours. I only had a couple things on there, so I just really wanted to see the feedback. Clearly, it was great. And then my son has a clothing line that's dropping in June called Bankroll Babies. My son's name is Jariah, but his nickname is Buddha. So it's kind of like a spin-off of that. It's just a luxury way of living, but at an affordable cost. So I'm super excited about that as well.
You mentioned earlier what you're doing presently. What are the goals? What are your future goals that you want to achieve? And as far as music is concerned, I know that you talked about you wanted to do a country album, right?
Yes, I do want to do a country album. Look at you. Wow. Okay, so I do want to do a country album. My dream is to do a collab with Shania Twain, Billy Ray Cyrus. Also want to do a gospel album, just because I've always wanted to sing gospel in a church. I've always just loved how transparent and how real and genuine and wholeheartedly built and crafted those songs are. A lot of artists in regards to that. I would say goals that I would have, I just want to expand my roster in regards to being an entrepreneur. So I want to get into real estate, cryptocurrency, and understanding NFTs a lot more. Those have been really catching my eye, just because, I really believe in generational wealth in ways that, my parents never could, and also teach them how to do it. But I want to do a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and open a music club that is kind of similar to the Boys and Girls Club, but in regards to music. So even if it's just the Boys and Girls Club expanding into having new instruments and having certain things in different places, I want to start in Seaside, California, and in Anchorage, Alaska. Right now, my main focus is, again, just this upcoming project, getting show ready and being here with my family. When so many things are moving, my life is super hectic. I'm always on a flight, always on a business call. Somebody's dead, and I got to send my condolences, or, somebody passes away and I got to do certain things for my family. Like, in the Philippines, the typhoon just happened, and that typhoon just wiped out my family's property. So now we got to rebuild. There's a million things happening. I have to consistently remind myself that, one, I'm a mother first, and I'm a woman as well. And I can only do so much. So don't stretch yourself too thin. I just want to make sure that the people that I love remember me by being loved in everything that I do. I want to make sure that people remember me by never giving up regardless of circumstance, always standing on my word. When you really love somebody, you're never going to walk away. You can love somebody from a distance. You can try and heal somebody from a distance, but there's just ways that you go about certain things and how you do it, especially now in today's society. Like I said, counseling's frowned upon and stuff like that, but you'd be surprised about what you learn about yourself and the traits that you have yourself that are not like negatively impacting somebody else. Again, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you've gone through, the sexual abuse, the trauma, the abuse in general, being a minority, growing up in the projects, 1700, Seaside, California, at the top of the hill, right by Nations. Come on. You can always break those barriers down. It's all about consistency and stuff like that and how hard you want it. Get up and get at it. You'll be fine.
I just want to say, it's a pleasure and it's such an honor to interview you. Thank you so much for your positivity, your kind words, your diligence, your resilience to just keep going and keep striving. Just want to say, I appreciate you and I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure being here. I look crazy. I never look like this, but again, things are moving so fast. I got to get ready for a show. But again, you guys are amazing. It's NellyStarr. You guys can find me at Instagram at NellyStarr with 2 R's and an underscore. I love you guys again.